Hello there everybody, RegiTime here, again with an as yet untitled video basically of me playing 13 on snap on 888. Got a good shot here. We isolated Denius, Massive whatever he's called, came along for the ride. If Denius had more chips we could consider staying in the pot in some description in some way, but he doesn't, so it's just a pretty damn easy fold. Irritating but easy. As a comment on the last video from somebody who said they were enjoying the videos but they would like me to put a little more emphasis on why I'm choosing the bet sizes I do. So we're going to try and have bet sizing as a common theme throughout the video. And we'll start here. We've isolated Google. And we've got a pretty good flop for our hand, but we'd like you to fold. We don't really want to encourage some light floats here, so we're going to bet quite big. Really want him to be floating out of position here with some ace highs and other such things, which who knows, maybe Google's the type of player who just has king queen, doesn't fold there if we make it too small, so that's why I chose a bigger sizing. Just going to check here to Mathsmiliano. I guess I better get some practice in saying his name because I think he's a regular. I think we'll just call him Math going forward. If I had the ace of spades here rather than the jack of spades, I would consider check raising. But because you have the jack of spades, we're just going to let it go. Ace jack high there, even if it's the best hand. If he's a good player, he's not going to make it too easy for us to get to a showdown, so we'll just tap out early. King queen off, we're going to make it 6x maybe. What's that, 5.5x? For value, pre-flop. Hopefully we just get one caller. More than happy to just take it down now. We get 3-bet by DL Incognito. It's going to be too much to stay in the pot. Not put another 8 blinds in, $2.40, call it what you will. I don't mind set mining, but the guy's made it 11 blinds, so I'm not going to set mine when someone's asking me to put 11 blinds in pre-flop, and we're not going to see bet here. I think the chance of us getting 2 folds against 2 players who clearly aren't regulars on an ace-high board is, I think it's too ambitious to expect to get through 2 people. Just one person in the pot I would have considered c-betting, but not in to try to c-bet versus 2 players. My first instinct here was to 3-bet Modric, then I've seen his stack size, so we'll check out our note on him. Don't call 9-9 check raise all in off short stack on safe flop. Doesn't really help us in this situation. I think we're still going to 3-bet. Or can we just call? Don't know anything about Fishface. It's from the UK. More likely to be bad play than a good play. We might just get away with just calling here. If I thought Fishface was the type to squeeze off them, now we just seen him at 2 tables, so maybe he is a regular. If I thought Fishface was the type to squeeze, I wouldn't make the call. But if he's not the type to squeeze, I don't really want to be 3-betting versus somebody with just 50 big blinds. Completely missed the flop, so we're just going to check fold here. If we'd flopped some kind of, we've got a backdoor straight draw, but that's it. If the jack was maybe a diamond or one of the cards was a diamond, we could maybe think about sticking around in some way, but no. Let it go. Not going to value at my 4 here. I think it's a little bit too thin. I think we probably just have the best hand. But it's in terms of like what worse he's going to call, I don't think there's much that can, so we'll just check. Definitely going to squeeze here. And we're going to make it 11 blinds. Oops. For value. Obviously we're happy to get it in, we're happy if we get called. And we don't really want to get in 2 folds here. And we could have made it smaller because of their raise sizes. But still, There's like 124 in the pot already. We don't want to be giving people too much for good odds to draw. Wow. With the 2 7s, do I want to? The best we can hope to be here is probably a flip. Man, no, jam 40 big blinds as a squeeze versus under the gun with ace 3 off. That note's now inclining me to call if he's capable of like just jamming ace 3 off pre-flop. And he's there with the jack 9, which unfortunately for us gets there. Not much we can do about that. He just clearly, he's a nutter who likes to get it in light pre-flop. Happy with the call, happy with the situation, just didn't work out for us. This guy's donked a pot-sized bet into us on a really dry board, which makes me think he probably just has a made hand of some description rather than draw. If this board was a little bit wetter, I think we could like say he's got a pretty weak range of doing this, but I think it's just very likely he's got a hand like King Queen or Queen Jack or something that he just thinks is the nuts, so we'll let it go. We'll add a note to this guy. Jack 9 suited, 3-bet jam 40 BB versus button open. So we're starting to get some good notes on Dazito. That does show the value of notes, even though we lost that hand. The fact that I had a note that said he's capable of getting it in light helped us make a good read, and helped us make a good decision. It just didn't work out for us. Not going to be result orientated. With that note, that's a call I would make again and again and again. Decision here is whether to 3-bet or fold versus incognito. We'll call because of there's two guys behind us who don't have full stacks, and I'm more likely to get value from them pre-flop, post-flop than I am from this incognito character. Unfortunately, we've been squeezed, and class 1's got no money, so we'll just fold. Going to just fire 1-bet here against Google, just to get him off of his like limp called with a Queen Jack or just 2 overcards. We're just going to vet once just to try and make him fold them. And what size we're going to make it. And again, for the same before, I don't particularly want to encourage any light floats here, so we're going to make it expensive to stay in it with these like better hands than ours that haven't connected. Once he calls, I'm pretty much done. I'm just going to try and hope to hit a 9 or a 8 on the river, or maybe if he checks again, maybe go for another bluff. But yeah, we're certainly not going to put another bet in on this street. King Queen offsuit versus under the gun and middle position. I'm just going to fold the 8-9 now. All 3 options are viable here, and I think we're just going to fold. I'm not that fond of King Queen off versus under the gun, especially when they're going to be out of position. If I'm going to have position post flop, it becomes a hand that I play all the time, of course, but out of position, I think we're just happy to let it go, not worry too much about it. Don't think there's ever going to be too much wrong by playing tightly out of position versus under the gun opens. I don't think anyone could ever say that's a really bad thing to do. It might be a little bit tight to fold King Queen there, but I don't think anyone could ever say it's like a flat out mistake. So you're going to fold this one. And versus a cut-off open, we could squeeze here. Lots of players would squeeze here. I'm happy just to call, or my hand's very playable. Don't need to blow up the pot. And unfortunately, again, we've completely missed, so not really any way to continue here other than to just check fold, I think. We flopped a pair on table 1 after we made a pretty light isolation raise with our 5-6 suited. And there's some action over here, so makes it even easier for us to not get out of line with our 10-9. I'm going to bet here just to protect my hand. I don't really want to give any free cards on this board if we are in front. Tons of ways people can suck out on us. I don't want to just give them a free shot at it. If we get check raised by Bambino, we're just going to fold. And that's my biggest fear at this point, is Bambino just wants to check shove with like 10x or draws and things. But I don't want to give free cards on that board texture. For ahead, we definitely could use some protection. And once Bambino calls, we're probably not going to put any more money in unless we improve in some way. We didn't improve. No, he just shoves, which is frustrating, but I think it's really hard for us to have the best hand here, so it's a pretty easy fold. We flop a flush draw. Pot Roos is a regular, don't know very much about him. When regulars check out a position in these games, it usually means they check folding. Again, I'm going to bet around 3/4 pot just to encourage him to fold. If we bet too small, I bet like 90 or $1 or something, he might just float with some stuff. We'd rather have him just fold. So we'll just bet that. And notice Deal Incognito does appear to be quite the aggro guy pre-flop, so I'll certainly be bearing that in mind if I see him again at the tables. I'll be adjusting my ranges, playing just a little bit tighter in terms of the hands I'm opening, and looking to maybe respect his aggression just a little bit less in situations where I have decided to open a hand. 6-7 or suit, not really strong enough to call even against somebody with a fish tag. This is one of my pet peeves these days. Just min raising from the small blind. With 8-3 off, there's literally nothing I can do. Just going to fold. I think it's a really poor play though, because I mean, who knows? I guess I could probably call super wide there, and then the guy's just got in a situation where he's probably got a relatively wide range, and he's going to be out of position. In a spot where he's not going to get too much respect. I mean, I just think it's a really bad play. Min raising from the small blind. I can't see any reason for people doing it, but it's something that's happening more. So I guess somebody somewhere's suggested it's a good play. And maybe in some games it is a good play. I think at micro stakes poker wouldn't be one of those places. We're going to min raise here because of Cognito. Only we didn't min raise because I misclicked. I thought we put the min raise in because of Cognito, but it doesn't matter because he folded anyway. I'm going to treat this like a check. So how would I respond on this board if I'd been checked to? I guess I would bet. So in that case, we're going to make a raise just to make him fold stuff that, or either get very thin value from draws, or make him just fold hands that have some kind of equity against us. He could just be dicking around here with like 8-7 or something like that. Just doesn't know what to do. So he's min betting. I don't mind. Well, not 8-7 exactly because we got that in jail, but 9-8, 6-5, all kinds of things that you could just have. That's just complete rubbish that still has like 2 overcards against us. So again, we just bet just to make sure that he doesn't suck out on us for cheap, or to get value from draws, or whatever. Yeah. Obviously he can easily have a much better hand than us there. But when I see min bets, I literally treat them like checks, and I just respond how I would respond to a check, and therefore I would have bet versus a check there. So I think I need to raise versus a min bet, Flop a straight here on a very coordinated board. I'm just going to bomb. Absolutely bomb it. There's loads of hands, worse hands I can call. And we flop a full house, which is nice. Definitely loads of worse hands I can call here, so we're just bombing it for pure value. Club's not folding, a 10's not folding, a queen's probably not folding. Unfortunately, so we just min bet here. We're probably going to raise and he's probably going to fold. That's, I think, what's going to happen here. But just in case he does have something, make it a reasonable size raise. He doesn't, he just folds, whatever. Who cares? Obviously, we're going to raise with our two kings against pellet. And he just call, which is nice. And again, this board texture, I don't know anything about pellet. He might know something about me, depending on whether he's ever watched any of my videos. I haven't got a clue. But it's just a board texture there. We could just get called with an absolute bunch of hands. Draws, pairs, that kind of thing. No reason to make a small bet. If he's got a hand he's going to call 150 with, he's probably going to call $2.10. Five's pretty decent card for us. He bets now. He leads into us. I'm just going to raise here for value. Again, if he's got a draw, he's probably not going to fold. And if he's just donking and 3-bet jamming with a better hand, then he's just going to stack me. I think we can again definitely get called by tons of worse hands. He just folds. It's just a weird line. Not really sure what to make of it, but I think just calling the turn there would be a mistake. We flop bottom pair. Do I want to bet bottom pair? We can bet fold here, can't we? Again, just to make him fold overcards or whatever. We just want to be giving free shots here to 2 overcards if he's in there with a hand like Jack, Queen, King, Queen, Jack, 10, all those types of things. We don't just want to be giving free cards out. Unfortunately, he's called and we're going to be pretty much done with it at this point. Unless he bets 30 cents, and then obviously we're just going to call. And I wouldn't be taught by seeing just like pot the river. What you see a lot of these people do, they make the hand and they bet really small to try and induce some bluffs. Who knows, maybe he's that type of guy, maybe he's not. But I wouldn't be at all surprised to see him just like pot it here on the river. And he doesn't. He just made some random weird turn bet, which is hard to understand, but whatever. We didn't lose too much there. I think we played the hand just fine. Ten ace suited is way too damn pretty to fold on the button, especially with the added bonus of having the limper. And obviously, I'm just going to flop the nuts too. Not anything about Stefano. Just going to call for now. It's kind of tempting to slow play here, but at the same time, I think we're just going to raise it up. I think there's stuff we can get value from. Queen X isn't folding, like Ace, Queen, King, Queen's not folding, Queen 10's not folding, flush draws aren't folding, over pairs aren't folding. There's loads of stuff that just isn't folding, so we're going to target that part. We're going to target the part which range isn't folding rather than just calling and try to keep some of his bluffs in. That will shut down on some turn cards anyway. We'll call once with the 8s and then just shut down. So again, we're just going to try and build this pot so we can shove the river. If we bet 8 here, he calls. I put 30 in the pot and we put 19 in our stack. Leaves like 2/3 pot for the river, so that's all good. Fortunately, you folded. Never mind. Not really a huge fan of slow playing on wet board textures. I mean, if we flop someone dead, if we like flop quads or flop top full house or something like that, Yeah, we can think about slow playing there, but on a board like that where there's just loads of like different things our opponents can have that we need to get value from, and B, they're just not folding, or on boards like that where it can just roll off like another heart on the turn and just completely make somebody shut down with naked overpairs and things. I think you should just try and build a pot. Try and make the pot as big as you can, as quick as you can. And if they don't stick around, if they haven't got a hand that can continue, well, that's just unfortunate. Um, don't allow yourself to be result orientated when you raise and people fold. And think, oh shit, I should have slow played there, because slow playing on wet boards usually isn't a good idea. We flop an open and straight draw. Pretty dry board, so we can start by betting. Expect to get a decent amount of folds. I'm worried that we might get squeezed by incognito here. I would 3-bet this in position if the incognito's in the blinds, just to isolate this guy, but without position it's queen 10 off. It's not a really exciting prospect, so we just fold it. If it was on the button there, I probably would have 3-bet because of who was in the blind, so I would have checked back here, so we're facing this min bet. We'll just call it, treat it like a check. And we're just going to check back, and you can try and keep this pot as small as possible. And that's the beauty of playing in position. We get to decide how big the pots get. And he checks back again. Now it's a matter of, can we get anything value whatsoever for our hand? Is he going to call with Queen Jack, with pocket 8s, pocket 7s, pocket 6s? It's thin, but I think we can definitely bet. But because it's thin, and because I don't think we're going to get raised, if I just bet 90 here, I don't think most like recreational players are actually going to see 90 and think, oh, I can bluff raise now. I think we can just bet 90 and hope to get called by a worse pair. If he has a king, well, so be it. Or she, sorry, if it's Sarah Mouse. We just value on ourselves sometimes. If you're not value owning yourself at least some of the time in these games, you're probably not value betting enough. But we do need to bet small, because the reason we bet small there isn't necessarily because of our hand strength per se. It's as much to do with, because our hand's quite weak, we're pretty confident we have the best hand, but because it's quite weak and we're betting for value, we need to give someone a price where they can definitely call with worse hands. If we made it like $2 there, we'd really make it too difficult for them to call with hands that we're beating. And we only tend to find ourselves getting called then by hands that we aren't beating, which is why we need to make it a little bit smaller. Now against good players, we can be exploited for that, because if they can identify, oh, this guy's maybe going for thin value, so we can raise him as a bluff. I don't think unknown players. I don't think we can be worried about that with unknown players. So this is check call fish again, who's going for the min raise. This time we're just going to call and flop trips. And we're going to bet really small here, because I think he'd probably see bet to this most of the time, unless he's got a weak ace. If we check calls, we can start thinking about increasing our bet size on the turn of the river. But this is just exactly how difficult we make it for these people. If they're opening too wide, we can just bet really small on flops and just put them in tough spots. Whether or not we have an 8 here, it still puts him in a toughish spot if he doesn't have the ace. If he has the ace, he has a really easy check call, I guess. But yeah, I mean, min raising from the small blind, if you are doing that, guys, I would recommend stopping doing it. I have no idea how anyone could ever consider it to be a good play. Defend 6-5 against middle position. It's not the best of hands, but it does have a degree of playability. We flop a good shot, so depending on what Jimbo does, We may have considered going for a check raise. Jimbo checks back. I think he'd check too many aces back on that board. Who knows, maybe he does, but we're going to assume that most players would value bet an ace on that board. So we're just going to bet twice now and hope to make him fold something that isn't an ace. Definitely playing the Queen Jack suited. Lemion's a pretty decent regular, but pretty happy playing Queen Jack suited out of position against most players in these games. Lemion would be one of the players I wouldn't necessarily want to play out of position against too often, but I mean the hand's just really good, so I can play it. Probably going to bet twice here, at least once, because the Nine of Diamonds does give us all the backdoor draws. And again, we're going to bet quite big, try and make him. And I don't think we get him off some like decent ace. He's got like ace jack or something. I don't think we get him off that for one barrel, but we might get him off it with two. And we flop top pair here against at least one player who might be efficient. It's a lot thinner when we go for value C bets in multi-way pots. But clearly we need to bet our hand for value. And now we just have to decide whether I'm bet folding this turn or bet calling. If we had more money, I think we would definitely be bet folding, but because of how little money he's got, I think we're just going to bet all the money. We're just going to put him in. He's not going to fold king queen. He might not fold spades. Yeah, the four's not great. He might have some shitty weird two pairs now with like low cards or something, but I think he'd definitely call with lots of worse hands here. I would have checked back, so he's going to call this min bet with all our backdoors. And then he just bombs the turn. We don't improve. Super easy fold. Min C bet, 3 bet, ace XX. Not much of a. No, completely irrelevant to this situation. But he does have the fish tag. So I now need to decide, can I 3 bet king queen for value? I think we can definitely 3 bet for value. We can definitely call with worse. But my issue is that if he does call, how many C bet bluffs are we going to get through? We're going to miss most of the time, and we're going to be forced to C-bet bluff too often. I just don't think against this player type, C-bet bluff, like bloating pots, then looking to C-bet bluffs, really going to be the way I want to play against this player type. So I'm happy just to call and see a flop with him. Obviously, we're not going to fold for 30 cents. If he keeps making it 30 cents, we're going to keep paying him off. We have the nothing here. We're not going to pay that off though. He's probably just ripping a full house would be my guess. We could bet here versus Lemion, whatever you want to call him. I think I'm happy just to take a free card. Just make sure that the pot isn't going to get too big on us in case he was planning on check raising with some kind of like pair plus draw or something like that. Definitely tricky enough to check raise there is Lemion. Now he's checked twice. I just think we've got the best hand and we're just going to try and get some value. The check on the flop, it does two things. It prevents us from playing a really big pot, which we don't want to do, and it also weakens our range, which hopefully allows us to get some thin value on later streets. But as I say, Lemion is a decent enough player. Don't expect to make too much money from him in that situation. Just like one pair moderate kicker. Wow. I was just folding here until the yellow came in the pot. And now I'm not so sure anymore. Now we're getting like 3-1 on a call pre-flop. We've got pretty good hand. I don't think we can fold. Just going to call here and then just not fold to DG. Doesn't matter what the turn is. We're stacking off against D double GLO. If Jimbo sticks around, it makes it a lot stickier for us. But hopefully what's going to happen here is Jimbo's going to fold and we're just going to call DGG's turn jam. Hopefully that's how this hand's going to play out. 3-bet versus Dimson. Unfortunately, Jimbo called, which now makes it when he shoves, we now probably have to fold. Wow, we just bets 120. Jimbo's the problem here. I don't care about him. If he's got us beat, well, hallelujah. So now do I want to raise to try and like force Jimbo out of the pot, or do I just want to call? I guess I just want to call because Jimbo can just have like jacks or kings or something that just isn't going to suck out on us very often. Really not in love with that club, but it does give us 2 pair. His hand's been a clusterfuck from the off, really. But we win. That was quite complicated because of that Jimbo calling the flop. Really complicated that hand. If Jimbo hadn't stuck around on the flop, I would just have jammed over that stupid turn bet. But Jimbo did kind of make life a bit more difficult for me there because he called the flop, which I guess he could do with a hand like jacks, queens, kings, that type of thing. But he probably shouldn't. Once we call the donk bet, it's not that hard to put us on an ace, but who knows, Jimbo might not think that way. We get squeezed, we've only got king 9, we're just going to fold. Whaling 98, and I know he's a regular. I've lost all my tags on Triple H since he did some updates, really quite annoying. But we're not going to call a regular's pot size raise under the gun in middle position with ace 3 suited. I am quite annoyed that I've lost all of my tags. I used to be really quite anal about my tags. I've lost them all. I'm sure there's probably a way of recovering them. Should probably look into it. Three bet for obvious reasons against check call fish, who just seems to min raise some more positions, it seems. I'm assuming he's just going to be some kind of like pretty bad regulars check call fish. He's got a shit bad regulars name to begin with. I mean, who the fuck calls himself check call fish? It's an awful name. And he just min raises from everywhere, so, and then seems to give up, so fuck him. Just gonna assume he's a bad regular and treat him that way. Many apologies if you're watching the video check call fish and you find that insulting. Well, not many apologies, but just said it now and I stand by it, but yeah, didn't mean to hurt your feelings if you were watching. Plymouth Fury, he's one of the funnest people to play against in these games. I think he's probably a losing player, but he makes life interesting. He's very aggressive. Make a big raise with that King Queen suited for value. We'd really want to try and get heads up if we can. 10 Jack off versus under the gun. Normally I would just fold it, but we're getting 4-1 on a call, and we got, oh no, Ads got no money. I was about to call, but then I saw Ads had no money, so it becomes a fold. Good shot here with backdoor flush draw. We're going to bet here enough just to try and make Vand. What would I need to bet to make Vand fold? A hand like 2/6s here. My guess is around this type of number. It's exactly what I'm trying to do. Try to get Van to fold something, some pair that is like worse than 8x, or just fold some random stuff that's got equity against us. If we allow him to have some free cards, 8 of clubs is quite an interesting turn card. It kind of motivates me to double barrel because of the equity we picked up with the flush draw. I'm going to go big. Really going to try and put lots of pressure on hands like 10x if he's caught with 10x. Stuff like that. Be a big shame if we get like shoved on or something here, but then we just have a pretty damn easy fold. But what I'll put massive pressure on pocket nines, 10x, just that make him fold all of his floats. Who knows? Maybe even puts pressure on a hand like I was going to say ace five. Maybe even puts a pressure on a hand like ace x. His weakest aces. He's not going to put any pressure on his strong aces. But maybe he puts pressure on his weak aces. Bit of a value with that king jack, and we're just going to give up on this river. It's like one of the worst bluff cards we could possibly try and bluff on. And if he just checks back here with a who knows what. I mean, at this point, I think he's probably just got a weak ace of some description. I'm not going to try and make you fold that. And if he somehow has just got called twice with a hand like 2 9s or 10x or whatever, I'm not going to beat myself up too much because I think bluffing this river would be suicide against somebody who calls twice, especially when they call that like massive turn bomb. I mean, who knows? He could just have a hand like 9-7 here or Jack 9 or something like that. But if he does, he's just going to win the pot with his bluff. Wasn't in love with that turn barrel, but because we picked up the flush draw, I think it's absolutely fine. If we're going to make it, we need to make it big because we are trying to apply pressure to, a made hand rather than just have somebody fold. Try and make somebody fold air that's beating us, whereas you try to make somebody fold a made hand at that point, which is why I went much bigger. And also, as the added value, if he does call and we do hit our flush on the river, it allows us to make a much bigger value bet too. So there are multiple benefits to using that size. I think I want to go for a check raise here against ads. It strikes me as sort of player. Just have a feel as a sort of player who might just back bet worse here and maybe call it off. So we'll try. Obviously, as a king, he's just going to win, but there's plenty of draws here. You can just flick it in with 10 jack, flush draws. Who knows? Maybe he just calls with a queen, 8-9, another one. Obviously, we lose to that now, but yeah. Good read. We played the hand well. Didn't work out. I think when we start isolating people with 5-4 suited, we're pretty much obliged to c-bet dry boards. And that is unfortunate against ads there. But I'm really happy with my read on ads, my read on the situation, and it worked out really well for us until he made trips, and that's just life. That sort of stuff just doesn't bother me in the slightest. It's when I play badly that's when it bothers me, or when I don't see my read through, or when I just don't play my best. When I played really well like I did there and didn't lose, well, whatever. Good for you, ads. Value bet here against worse jacks and flush draws. And I definitely bet the turn. Little bit concerned about getting squeezed by incognito here, but the green tag on the button's making me want to play my hand. Yeah, definitely can continue. Same reason we value bet the flop. No reason to slow down the turn. We flop a good shot back door, flush draw, dry board against a regular who's checked. So it seems like a pretty clear bet. And wow, 40 minutes has just gone past already. Forgot just how much I enjoyed making videos. Don't even care if people don't like them. Couldn't give less of a toss. I enjoy doing it. I know that some guys out there do enjoy watching them, so good. And the guys that don't, well, fuck you. Really doesn't bother me. But yeah, 40 minutes. It's all done and dusted. We're going to play around to our blinds, guys, and call it a session. Definitely going to play the 10-9 suited. Not going to raise a 10-2 suited with really short stack, and completely bricked and Dimson donked sets quite a lot, so no reason to stick around there at all. We're going to start putting some text back on these players. I know Whaling's a good player, so he can get that. He plays 15L2, so definitely a good player. Don't know anything about this guy. I'm going to back myself to play well in position against most players in these games. Whaling squeeze, so it's kind of put paid to that. But I have that ace-7 suited. I think I'm going to be yeah, we're behind his range pre-flop, I guess, but we're not doing terribly against it. And I guess I'm going to be able to play well enough post-flop to turn that into a winner against an unknowns under the gun open. If that turned out to be regular under the gun, I might be less inclined to do it. So yeah, been a few interesting spots in the session. I hope you've enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed making it because the time's flown by. So if you have any questions, any comments, please do make them underneath the video. As you can see, I do read the comments because the last video someone asked to talk more about bet sizes and why I'm using sizes. Hopefully I've made a better job of that in this video. So please do give me any feedback that you have, positive or negative. Usually ignore the negative stuff if it's just trolly and unpleasant. If it's positive, if it's like constructive criticism, more than happy to take it on board. Please do check out my other videos, and if you do feel like you would like to have a session with me where we can just look at your game, see where you're going wrong, if things aren't going too well for you right now, please look below in the comment section for the different ways you can contact me. Good luck everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye for now.